Today, I would like to talk about something that I believe has sadly become a lost art. Shalom, my friends. Yes, a lost art, the art of disagreeing with civility. It's been on my mind this past week. Let me explain why. Our last video was called God, the Bible, and Slavery. In that video, I talked about why the first institution that was eliminated by the Torah was polytheism. Because I said multiple gods means multiple moral authorities and therefore no absolute moral standards. I also made the case for my belief that God loves freedom and liberty and hates slavery, and that this is reflected in the text of the Torah. Someone who saw that video disagreed with pretty much all of it, which is absolutely fine. The fellow accused me of being an apologist for the Torah, He said that the Torah never says there's only one God, it only says we should not worship the other gods. He argued against the fact that most of what is called slavery in the Torah is really indentured servitude. And he even claimed that the book of Exodus, chapter 21, tells you where to buy slaves. Although I don't have my response to him in front of me verbatim, this is essentially what I said. I said, thank you for a thoughtful response with which I disagree. However, I'm not inclined to engage in online debate. It is sufficient to know that we differ. However, I do have one question. Would you please cite the passage in Exodus 21 that tells us where to buy slaves? Now, before I go any further, let me expand on my response a bit. I chose not to engage in online debate because I'm not about convincing my audience to agree with me. As Dennis Prager has famously said, clarity is more important than agreement. I made my thinking as clear as I could in my video, and I assume the person who disagreed also tried to be as clear as possible in his response. Certainly, it was very clear where and how we differed, and that is where I would have been happy to leave it. Maybe I made a mistake in asking him to cite the passage he referred to in Exodus 21. I knew there was no such passage anywhere in Exodus. At any rate, what I thought was a respectful response infuriated the other fellow. He said I picked on the only mistake that he had made in his response to me. And then he went on quite a rant. Still fine. Let me tell you from the bottom of my heart, although I did not appreciate his tone, I had absolutely no issue with his disagreeing with me. But something went wrong. The fellow used profanity. He didn't write out completely the very crude and offensive term that he invoked. He put dashes in place of some of the letters. But no one who read what he wrote, and remember, this was all publicly online, you might have seen it. No one could have possibly failed to understand his intended vulgarity. And that, my friends, is where I draw a line. I deleted that post, feeling a little bit guilty as I did so, because I didn't want to appear as if I was being intolerant of a differing opinion. Nothing could be further from the truth. But when someone crosses the line of what is called in Hebrew Lashon Hara or Lashon Hara, literally evil speech, that's going too far, and I won't have meanness or vulgarity on the channel. But I do want to be clear. I am not making this video solely because of a nasty comment on YouTube. I have been bewailing for years the fact that disagreeing with civility is a lost art in our society. Too often, disagreement is expressed by demonizing the other.
No, let me tell you something, Mr. Stivic. You are a meathead.
If you don't agree with me, not only do I think you're wrong, I think you're evil for holding the opinion you hold. It's the Archie Bunker style. And that is the beauty of taking the approach of clarity being more important than agreement. If it is your goal to change another person's mind and prove that you are correct and the other is wrong, that will color your approach to the entire exchange and quite possibly lead to anger and frustration if you fail to convince the other person. But if you simply make the goal of an interaction understanding one another by making your thinking clear to the other and vice versa, it's no longer about winning an argument. The interaction has a far better chance of remaining a conversation and not deteriorating into an argument at all. Perhaps a little more focus on clarity over agreement and a little less
And meathead, dead from the neck up. Meathead.
We can put into practice the beautiful teaching of love your neighbor and make life just that little bit better for all of us. So naturally, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this. Do you like the idea of valuing clarity over agreement? Or do you disagree? Please let me know politely in the comments box. And that, my friends, is where I will conclude this week. I appreciate you staying with us until the end. I'm also very appreciative of those who support the Rabbi study by becoming patrons of the channel for as little as $3 a month. If you would like to support our efforts at addressing the ultimate issues of life by becoming a patron yourself, please use the Patreon link in the description box. And of course, supporting us by subscribing to the channel costs nothing, but it does help to get our videos in front of more viewers. You have to be logged into YouTube to subscribe. But assuming you are, just click on my face right over here and ring the notification bell. You can also watch our last video by clicking on its icon right over there. As ever, until next time, Shabbat Shalom.